Hey there, you're looking kind of cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out all my other socials. Enjoy. The airport terminal lights made a constant buzzing sound. They shone on the frustrated people stuck at Gate 47. Delays were announced again and again, making the tired travelers feel worse. A young man named Bobby sat slumped in his chair. He looked very tired. He wore an old button-down shirt and wrinkled khaki pants. He did not stand out in the crowd. His phone was almost out of battery, and there were no new messages or updates on it. Bobby sighed and looked around, hoping to find something to take his mind off the long wait. The expensive drinks at the airport were no longer interesting to him, and he wanted a break from the loud news on the TV. A voice called out, "Rough night?" drawing Bobby's attention. 3 women had taken the seats across from him while he had been looking at his phone. The woman who spoke wore a dark purple blazer over a black silk shirt. Her light blonde hair was pulled up nicely. Next to her was a woman with red hair wearing a fancy green dress. On the end sat a woman with black hair, wearing a red leather jacket and dark jeans. "Is it that obvious?" Bobby said, giving a tired smile. "Let me guess, Vegas?" Eventually, the blonde crossed her legs, revealing purple heels that matched her blazer. "Though at this rate, we might miss half our conference." "Conference?" He raised an eyebrow. "In Vegas?" The redhead laughed, a musical sound that seemed to brighten the dreary gate area. "Alternative medicine symposium, crystal healing, energy work, that sort of thing." "Ah." Bobby tried to keep the skepticism from his voice. "That's interesting. You don't believe in any of it?" The woman in crimson stated it as fact, not question. Her dark eyes studied him with an intensity that made him shift in his seat. "I didn't say that." "You didn't have to." She smiled, revealing perfect white teeth. "Your aura speaks volumes." The blonde woman reached into her purple leather purse and produced a deck of cards. Not tarot cards, as Bobby might have expected from 3 alternative medicine practitioners, but regular playing cards with an ornate silver backing. "Since we're all stuck here," she shuffled with practiced ease, "anyone interested in killing time with a friendly game?" "Poker?" Bobby perked up. "Now you're talking my language." "Texas Hold'em?" The blonde's eyes sparkled with something he couldn't quite identify. "Or would you prefer something more interesting? Such as 5-card draw with a twist." She continued shuffling, the cards flowing like water between her manicured fingers. "Every hand comes with a dare. Nothing too wild. We are in public after all." The redhead giggled. "Remember what happened last time, Morgana?" "That was different, Scarlet." The blonde, Morgana apparently, waved dismissively. "We were in international waters." "I'm Raven." The dark-haired woman extended a hand adorned with silver rings on every finger. "And you are?" "Bobby." He shook her hand, noting how cold her skin felt, despite the stuffy airport heat. "Well, Bobby," Morgana dealt 5 cards to each of them with lightning speed. "Shall we make this interesting? Small stakes, just to keep it fun. $20 per hand." He glanced at his wallet. He had enough cash to last a few rounds, and what else was he going to do for 3 hours? "Sure, why not?" The first hand went to Scarlet with 3 queens. Her dare for Bobby involved doing 10 push-ups right there in the gate area, which drew amused looks from other travelers, but nothing worse. He knocked them out easily enough, though Raven's intense stare during the exercise made him oddly self-conscious. The second hand was his, a straight flush that had Morgana raising her perfectly sculpted eyebrow in appreciation. "Your dare for..." He looked at the 3 women, settling on Morgana. "You. Sing the chorus of any song, right here, right now." She stood without hesitation, her purple heels clicking on the terrazzo floor, and belted out a pitch-perfect rendition of Witchy Woman that had half the gate applauding. Bobby found himself impressed despite himself. "You have a beautiful voice," he admitted as she retook her seat. "One of many talents." She winked and dealt the next hand. As the game progressed, Bobby noticed odd things. The airport's air conditioning seemed to malfunction only around their small circle, creating pockets of warm and cool air that swirled without any apparent pattern. The fluorescent lights above them flickered in rhythm with Scarlett's laughter. And once he could have sworn he saw Raven's eyes flash gold when she folded a particularly bad hand. Another round? Morgana gathered the cards after Raven won with a full house. Or are you ready to call it quits? Bobby checked his phone. Still 2.5 hours until boarding. Deal me in. This time, as Morgana shuffled, the cards seemed to glow faintly in her hands. Had to be a trick of the light, Bobby reasoned, though the terminal's harsh fluorescence hadn't created that effect before. Let's raise the stakes. Raven leaned forward, her crimson jacket creaking softly. 50 per hand, and the dares get more creative. Define creative. Bobby felt a strange tingling in his fingers as he picked up his cards. Nothing harmful, Scarlett assured him, though her green eyes danced with mischief. Just fun little transformations. Transformations. Of perspective, Morgana clarified quickly. You know, seeing things from a different point of view. Bobby looked at his hand. 2 pairs, kings and 3s. Not bad, but not great. The tingling sensation had spread up his arms now, a pleasant warmth that made him feel oddly relaxed. I'll see your 50 and raise 20. The betting went around twice before cards were exchanged. Bobby kept his pairs, drawing one card that turned out to be another 3. Full house. Well, Raven laid down her cards, a busted flush. Looks like you win this round. My dare. Bobby paused, the tingling now reaching his chest. I dare Scarlett to tell us her most embarrassing airport story. As Scarlett launched into a tale about accidentally switching suitcases with a stranger and ending up with a bag full of garden gnomes, Bobby felt the strangest sensation. His shirt felt looser somehow, the fabric hanging differently on his frame. He adjusted it absently, too focused on Scarlett's animated storytelling to pay much attention. Your turn to deal. Morgana slid the deck to him. His hands looked different as he shuffled. Slimmer? No, that was ridiculous. Just the weird airport lighting playing tricks. Though his class ring did spin more freely on his finger than usual, the next several hands blurred together. Raven won with 4 aces. I dare Bobby to walk to the restroom and back with his eyes closed, which resulted in him bumping into several annoyed travelers. Morgana took the next with a straight flush. Bobby, I dare you to speak only in questions for the next round. Scarlett claimed victory with a royal flush that seemed almost impossible. Bobby, switch seats with each of us once per hand. With each dare completed, that tingling warmth intensified. His clothes grew progressively looser, his navy shirt billowing where it had once fit snugly. His khakis required constant hitching up, the belt no longer sufficient to keep them at his waist. Something wrong? Raven asked as he tugged at his collar again. These airport chairs must be worse than I thought. My clothes feel all bunched up. The 3 women exchanged glances he couldn't interpret. Perhaps you need a stretch, Morgana suggested. We've been sitting for quite a while. Bobby stood, immediately grabbing for his pants as they threatened to slide down his hips. His shirt hung like a tent, the shoulders drooping past where they should. Even his shoes felt loose, his heels sliding with each step. I think the stress of traveling is getting to me. Maybe I'm getting sick? Or maybe, Scarlett said softly, you're simply changing. Changing? Everyone changes, Bobby. Raven shuffled the cards with practiced ease. The question is whether we accept it or fight it. He sat back down, having to adjust his position, as his body didn't quite fill the chair the same way. The rational part of his mind screamed that something was very wrong, but the warm tingling felt so pleasant, so right, that he couldn't bring himself to panic. Another hand? Morgana asked. Yes. He picked up his cards with fingers that looked undeniably different now, longer, more delicate. His nails, which he'd chewed down to nubs just yesterday, extended past his fingertips in perfect ovals. This hand went to Scarlett again. Her dare made Bobby's heart race. I dare you to accept what's happening. What's happening? The question came out in a voice half an octave higher than his normal register. You know? Raven reached across and touched his hand. Where her skin made contact, the tingling intensified, and he watched in fascination as his fingers lengthened another fraction, the knuckles smoothing out. "You've known since the first hand." "That's impossible." "Is it?" Morgana gestured to the airport around them. "Look closer." Bobby glanced around the terminal. The CNN monitors still droned. Travelers still hustled past with their rolling suitcases. The departure board still showed their flight delayed. But now he noticed what he'd missed before. How people's eyes slid past their little group as if they weren't there. How the security camera directly above them had its lens pointing at the ceiling. How the gate agent hadn't looked their way once despite their increasingly animated game. "We're in a bubble," Scarlett explained. "A small pocket of reality where the usual rules bend a little. You're witches." It wasn't a question. Such an old-fashioned term. Morgana dealt another hand with a flourish. "We prefer practitioners of alternative transformation." Bobby looked down at himself. His shirt hung off a frame that had shed at least 6 inches of height and all of its masculine bulk. His hands were undeniably feminine now, delicate and smooth. Through the loose collar of his shirt, he could see the soft swell of breasts beginning to form. Why? Because you needed it. Raven's gold-flecked eyes held nothing but kindness. "Your aura's been screaming for release since you sat down, trapped in a form that never quite fit, going through motions that never felt right. I've never... Haven't you?" Scarlett leaned forward. "Late nights wondering what it would be like? That Pinterest board you think nobody knows about? The way you always play female characters in video games?" Bobby's breath caught. He'd never told anyone about those things. "How do you know that?" "We know suffering when we see it." Morgana's expression softened. "Each of us found our true selves through transformation. We simply help others do the same." "But I can't just become a woman in an airport." "Why not?" Raven shuffled the cards again. "Where better to transform than a place of transition? Airports exist between destinations, between who you were and who you're becoming." Bobby picked up the new hand with trembling fingers. His brown hair had grown past his shoulders now, falling in soft waves that tickled his neck. The face reflected in his phone's black screen was softer, rounder, with high cheekbones and full lips. "What happens when the bubble pops? When security sees my ID doesn't match?" "Details," Morgana waved dismissively. "Reality has a way of adjusting to accommodate truth. Your documents will reflect who you really are." "And who is that?" "That's for you to decide." Scarlett smiled. "Though might I suggest Roberta? It suits you." Bobby, Roberta, looked at the cards. Another busted flush. Story of his life. Always one card short of winning. But as he laid them down, he realized something. Sometimes losing led to better places than winning ever could. "I can't believe this is happening." Belief is optional. Raven won the hand with 3 jacks. "My dare? Stop fighting and let yourself become." The tingling warmth exploded through every cell. Bobby gasped as the transformation accelerated. His waist pulled in while his hips flared out. His face reshaped itself into undeniably feminine features. His brown hair grew thicker, longer, reaching the middle of his back in glossy waves. Breasts swelled beneath the loose shirt, full and natural. When it ended, the person sitting in Bobby's chair was unrecognizable as the man who'd started the game. She looked down at herself in wonder, hands exploring the new curves, the different weight distribution, the way everything felt simultaneously foreign and perfectly right. "How do you feel?" Morgana asked gently. Roberta's voice was melodious, pitched in a pleasant alto. "Scared? Excited? Free?" All normal reactions. Scarlett reached into her bag and pulled out a smaller purse in soft pink leather. "You'll need a few things." Inside, Roberta found a driver's license with her new face and the name Roberta Chen, credit cards to match, and a phone that looked like hers but unlocked with her fingerprint. A fingerprint that shouldn't have worked, but did. "The clothes situation needs addressing." Raven stood and grabbed her crimson jacket. "Can't have you swimming in those." "There's a shop just past security." Morgana gathered the cards. We have time. They stood as a group, and Roberta clutched her pants to keep them from falling. The airport beyond their bubble looked exactly the same, yet completely different. As they walked, she noticed how her perspective had shifted. Literally lower, but somehow more expansive. People can see me now? They see who you've always been. Scarlett linked her arm through Roberta's. Just took a while to get the outside to match. The shop Morgana mentioned turned out to be a high-end boutique that Roberta had walked past a dozen times without noticing. The saleswoman greeted them like old friends, already pulling items in Roberta's size. The blue sundress. Raven pointed to a navy number that would complement Roberta's coloring perfectly. With the white cardigan. I can't afford... Our treat. Morgana handed over a black credit card. Consider it a welcome gift. In the dressing room, Roberta shed Bobby's ill-fitting clothes with a mixture of relief and trepidation. The sundress slipped over her head like water, the fabric settling against her new curves, as if tailored specifically for her. White sandals replaced the two large men's shoes. The saleswoman appeared with a white leather purse that matched the cardigan perfectly. Makeup? Scarlett produced a small cosmetics bag. Just basics for now. Roberta sat still as the three women worked their magic. Mundane this time, just mascara and lip gloss and a touch of blush. When they finished, the mirror showed a pretty woman with brown waves, wearing a navy sundress with white accents, looking like she'd stepped out of a summer catalog. I look... like yourself. Raven adjusted a strand of hair. Finally. Back at the gate, they reclaimed their seats. The CNN loop continued. The departure board showed another delay. Mechanical issues had become weather problems at the destination. Roberta felt she should be annoyed, but couldn't muster the emotion. So what now? She smoothed the sundress over her thighs, still marveling at how different everything felt. Now, Morgana dealt one more hand. We finish our game. This round felt different. The cards held no magic, no tingling warmth, just regular playing cards in a regular airport with regular delays. Except nothing was regular anymore, and Roberta found she preferred it that way. She won with a pair of queens, appropriately enough. My dare, she looked at the three witches who'd changed her life over a card game. Tell me the truth. Why me? Why here? Why now? Because magic finds a way. Scarlett smiled. We were supposed to be on the morning flight. It got canceled. We were rerouted through this connection, Raven added. Delayed just like you. And when we saw you sitting here, miserable in your own skin, we recognized a kindred spirit. Morgana collected the cards one final time. The universe conspires to put people where they need to be. What if I want to change back? Do you? Roberta considered it. Thought about Bobby's life, the accounting job that bored him to tears, the dates that never felt right, the constant sense of wearing a costume that didn't fit. Then she looked down at herself, at the woman she'd become in the span of a card game, and knew the answer. No. Then that's settled. Morgana tucked the cards away. Though we should mention, Vegas is still an option. What? Our conference. Scarlett grinned. It's real, though perhaps not quite what you're imagining. A gathering of practitioners, yes, but also those who've been transformed. A week of learning to navigate your new reality with others who understand. I have a job to get back to. A life. Bobby's life, Raven corrected gently. Is that the life Roberta wants? The boarding announcement interrupted her response. First class, then priority passengers. Their group would be last, of course. Roberta stood with the others, adjusting her purse strap and smoothing her dress. I don't know what Roberta wants yet. Perfect. Morgana linked arms with her. That's what Vegas is for. Finding out. As they joined the boarding queue, Roberta caught her reflection in the window. Brown waves framed a face she was still learning, wearing navy and white that felt more natural than any suit Bobby had owned. Behind her, three witches in purple, green, and crimson chatted like the old friends they apparently were. Boarding pass? The gate agent held out her hand. Roberta pulled out her phone, fully expecting some issue, some glitch that would expose the impossible transformation. But the mobile boarding pass showed her new name, her new identity, as if it had always been that way. "Have a wonderful flight, Ms. Chen." Ms. Chen. The name felt like a warm embrace. They found their seats, somehow all four together despite booking separately. Roberta took the window, Morgana beside her, Scarlet and Raven across the aisle. As the plane pushed back from the gate, Roberta pressed her face to the window, watching the terminal shrink away. "Second thoughts?" Morgana asked softly. "No." Roberta turned from the window. "Just thinking about poker." "Oh?" "I always lose with busted flushes, one card short of something great. But this time..." She gestured to herself, to her new reality, to the three women who'd dealt her an entirely different hand. This time, a busted flush led somewhere better. Magic's funny that way. Scarlet leaned across the aisle. "It rarely looks like what we expect." The flight to Vegas took 4 hours. Roberta spent them learning how to sit in a dress, how to navigate the airplane bathroom in her new body, how to respond to the flight attendant who called her Miss without hesitation. The witches shared stories of their own transformations, each unique, but all involving that moment of recognition, of accepting who they truly were. "Will I have powers now?" Roberta asked as they began their descent. "Like you?" "You already do." Raven smiled mysteriously. "You just haven't discovered them yet." Las Vegas sprawled below them, a neon oasis in the desert. Roberta felt her pulse quicken. A week in a city of transformation with 3 witches as guides. A week to discover who Roberta Chen really was when freed from Bobby's constraints. The plane touched down smoothly. As they gathered their belongings, Morgana pressed something into Roberta's hand. A playing card. The Queen of Hearts, from the deck they'd used in the airport. "A reminder," she said, "of the hand you were always meant to play." They deplaned into chaos of slot machines and neon signs that marked Vegas's airport. Raven led them to baggage claim, though Roberta had no bags to claim. Bobby's suitcase held nothing Roberta could use. "Shopping first," Scarlet declared. "Can't have you spending a week in one dress, lovely as it is." "I really can't afford." "The conference has a newcomer fund." Morgana waved off her concerns. "Consider it an investment in your future." A taxi whisked them to the Strip, where hotels reached for the sky in defiance of the desert. Their destination was one of the older casinos, its facade less flashy than its neighbors, but somehow more substantial. The lobby mixed old Vegas glamour with modern comfort, crystal chandeliers illuminating slot machines that chimed their electronic songs. "Conference registrations not until tomorrow." Raven checked her phone. "But our suite's ready." Their suite, plural, as in Roberta was apparently staying with them. The rooms really, sprawled across a corner of the 30th floor. 3 bedrooms, a central living area with views of the Strip, and a bathroom larger than Bobby's entire apartment. Roberta set her small purse on the marble counter, still amazed it contained her entire current wardrobe. "Shower, then shopping." Morgana kicked off her purple heels. "Then dinner at a place I know where the owner owes me a favor." "For magic?" "For removing his ex-wife's curse on the slot machines." She winked. She was making them pay out to everyone but him. Roberta retreated to what was apparently her bathroom, stripping off the navy dress carefully. The shower was a revelation. How different water felt on her new skin, how her hair required entirely different treatment, how every sensation registered in new ways. She wrapped herself in the plush hotel robe, finding the others similarly attired in the living room. "So." She curled into an armchair, tucking her legs beneath her in a way that felt natural despite being impossible hours ago. "Tell me about this conference. Officially, it's the annual Alternative Healing and Transformation Symposium." Scarlet poured wine from a bottle that hadn't been there moments before. "Unofficially, it's where people like us gather to share knowledge and support each other." "People like us meaning witches?" "Meaning anyone who's undergone profound transformation." Raven accepted a glass, the red wine matching her crimson nails. "Witches, yes, but also shapeshifters. We're creatures. Humans who've been touched by magic." "And people like me?" "Especially people like you." Morgana raised her glass in toast. To Roberta Chen, newest member of our very exclusive club. They drank, the wine tasting of summer berries and something indefinable that made Roberta's skin tingle, though pleasantly this time, without the transformative urgency. How many others will be there? Usually about 200. Scarlett refilled glasses with a gesture. From all over the world, you'll meet people whose stories make yours look mundane. Hard to imagine. Thursday night's talent show should open your eyes. Raven grinned. Last year, a were-swan performed lake ballet while transforming mid-dance. Were-swan? Long story involving a cursed ballet company. Morgana waved it off. The point is, you're among friends who understand. No judgment, no disbelief, just acceptance. A knock interrupted them. Room service, though nobody had called. The server wheeled in a cart laden with afternoon treats, finger sandwiches, petit fours, fruit that looked too perfect to be natural. Compliments of management, he said, though his eyes never quite focused on any of them. Welcome back, ladies. When he left, Roberta stared at the spread. Does everyone here know about the magical community? More than you'd think. Scarlett selected a chocolate-covered strawberry. Vegas attracts our kind. Where else can you reinvent yourself nightly and nobody blinks? They ate and talked, the afternoon slipping away as Roberta learned about the hidden world she'd stumbled into. Or been guided into, more accurately. The sun painted the sky in desert pastels, and Morgana declared it time for shopping. The forum shops at Caesar's Palace bustled with tourists, but the three witches navigated to a section Roberta swore hadn't existed on previous visits. Boutiques with names in languages she didn't recognize offered clothes that seemed to shimmer with their own light. This one, Raven guided her into a shop where mannequins wore dresses that shifted color as she watched. The proprietor, an elderly woman with silver hair piled impossibly high, took one look at Roberta and began pulling items without asking size or preference. New transformation, she stated rather than asked. Recent, within hours. You'll need foundations first. What followed was a whirlwind of silk and satin, cotton and cashmere, undergarments that fit like they'd been crafted for her specific body, dresses that made her feel like she'd always been meant to wear them, jeans that hugged curves Bobby never had, shoes in every color, though she found herself drawn to whites and blues that complemented her favorite navy. The leather jacket. The proprietor held up a white motorcycle jacket that shouldn't have worked with Roberta's style, but somehow did. For when you discover your edge. My edge? Every transformed woman finds it eventually. She wrapped the jacket carefully. The part of themselves they couldn't express before. The total should have bankrupted her. Instead, Morgana produced that black card again, and the number on the receipt seemed far smaller than the pile of bags would suggest. Transformation discount, the proprietor winked. We take care of our own. They returned to the hotel laden with enough clothes to last a month, not just a week. Roberta hung each piece carefully, marveling at how right they looked in the closet. Her closet, her clothes, her life. Dinner in an hour, Scarlett called out. Wear something that makes you feel powerful. Roberta selected a black cocktail dress with blue accents, pairing it with the white leather jacket and black heels that added 3 inches to her diminished height. The mirror showed a confident woman ready for a night out. Brown waves styled with products Morgana had insisted on buying. The restaurant occupied the penthouse of one of the older casinos, its Art Deco elegance a throwback to when the Rat Pack ruled the town. The maitre d' greeted Morgana with a kiss on both cheeks, leading them to a private table overlooking the strip. No menus tonight, he announced. Chef's inspiration, tailored to each guest. What followed was 7 courses of impossible food. Roberta's salad bloomed like a garden on her plate, each leaf unfolding to reveal new flavors. Her fish swam through a sauce that tasted of distant oceans. Dessert arrived as a chocolate sphere that melted to reveal a miniature aurora borealis in spun sugar. How? Was all she could manage. Chef's a kitchen witch. Raven savored her own dessert, which appeared to be made of crystallized moonlight. Trained in Paris, both the culinary and magical schools. Is everyone in Vegas magical? Not everyone. Morgana signaled for the check, which arrived as a single peacock feather that she tucked into her purse. But more than anywhere else in America, the desert's always been a place of transformation. They walked the strip afterward, Roberta's heels clicking on pavement still warm from the day's heat. The crowds parted around them without seeming to notice, that bubble effect from the airport manifesting again. Street performers held actual magic shows, though tourists assumed it was all illusion. A living statue winked at Roberta, its bronze form shifting to flesh for just a moment. "This is insane! This is Tuesday in Vegas." Scarlett linked arms with her. "Wait until you see what happens during the full moon." "When's that?" "Friday night. Conference always times its closing ceremony to match." They returned to the hotel past midnight, Roberta's feet aching in the unfamiliar heels, but her spirit soaring. In her room, she carefully hung up the dress and jacket, storing the shoes in their box. The bathroom mirror showed a face flushed with wine and wonder, brown hair tousled from the desert breeze. "I'm really doing this," she told her reflection. "I'm really her." Sleep came easily, filled with dreams of flying over neon canyons and swimming through seas of liquid light. Wednesday dawned bright and desert clear. Roberta woke to find coffee already brewing in the suite's kitchen, Morgana reading a newspaper that definitely hadn't been delivered. "Conference registration's at 9. She looked up, violet eyes twinkling. "Nervous?" "Terrified." "Perfect. Means you're taking it seriously." Roberta chose the white sundress with blue flowers for her first official day as herself among others like her. The registration took place in a ballroom she was certain the hotel didn't normally have, its ceiling open to a sky that showed stars despite the morning hour. Name? The registration desk was staffed by a young man whose eyes shifted color as he spoke. "Roberta Chen." He found her on his list without question, handing over a badge that read her name and first transformation in flowing script. "Welcome packages in your tote bag. Opening sessions in the Metamorphosis ballroom in 20 minutes. The tote bag contained a schedule that rearranged itself based on her interests, a crystal that glowed when near others who'd transformed recently, and a coupon book for local magical establishments. "Ready?" Raven appeared at her elbow, wearing her signature crimson in the form of a business suit that meant business in ways beyond the corporate. The Metamorphosis ballroom lived up to its name. The walls showed constant slow transformations, butterflies emerging from chrysalises, flowers blooming and withering and blooming again, abstract patterns that suggested change without defining it. Several hundred people filled round tables, the crowd more diverse than any Roberta had seen. "Is that a centaur?" "Camilla, yes." Scarlett waved to a woman whose lower body was definitely equine. "Wonderful therapist, specializes in helping people accept physical transformations." "And the person with wings?" Angel touched. "Different from transformation. That's addition rather than change. We'll cover the distinctions in Thursday's taxonomy workshop." The opening speaker took the stage, a woman who seemed to exist in several dimensions simultaneously. Her speech, welcoming them to explore their new selves safely, echoed in languages Roberta didn't recognize but somehow understood. Morning sessions covered practical matters. Documentation and identity, taught by a lawyer who specialized in reality adjustments. Fashion for the transformed, led by someone who'd been every gender and several species. Navigating relationships post-change, facilitated by a therapist who'd been married to the same person through 4 different forms. Lunch was a buffet that adapted to each person's needs. Roberta found herself craving foods Bobby had never enjoyed, her transformed palate appreciating subtleties that would have been lost before. "How's the first day?" Morgana joined her at a table, overlooking the pool where several attendees swam in forms that weren't entirely human. "Overwhelming. Amazing. I can't believe this is real." "Reality's negotiable." She bit into a sandwich that contained what looked like starlight. "The trick is negotiating for what serves you best." Afternoon brought more targeted sessions. Roberta attended Gender Transformation 101, where she met a dozen others who'd recently switched. The facilitator, a warm woman named Diana who'd transformed 30 years ago, led them through exercises in accepting their new bodies. The hardest part isn't the physical change, Diana explained. It's letting go of who you thought you had to be. They practiced walking, sitting, moving in ways that felt natural to their new forms. Roberta found herself helping another newly transformed woman named Jessica, who'd changed just the week before. "It gets easier," Roberta assured her, then laughed. "I can't believe I'm saying that when I've only been like this since yesterday." Time moves differently around transformation, Diana overheard. Some people need years to accept a change. Others, like you, recognize themselves immediately. The session on finding your magical talent proved more challenging. The instructor, a stern man who could phase through solid objects, had them attempt various exercises. Roberta couldn't levitate, couldn't shapeshift, couldn't read minds, but when she held the playing card Morgana had given her, it grew warm in her hand. "Interesting." The instructor examined the card. The conversation buzzed with energy as the group shared their unique experiences with their abilities and transformations. They laughed, compared notes, and marveled at the wonders of their world. As the sushi plates emptied and the night wore on, Roberta felt a sense of belonging with this extraordinary group. The rare chance to connect with others like her, to feel understood and accepted, filled her with a profound sense of peace. After dinner, they parted ways, each witch and wizard going their separate paths, but Roberta knew their lives had been forever altered. They had found their kindred spirits, and the world felt a little less lonely. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.